All right, then we are live. Welcome to the post day 3 of the 4 test match. I'm not as excited to come on the live. I'm excited to talk to you guys and rant and
Yeah,
get all
yeah.
the frustration of the day out. But not,
Get the likes going today. It's just gonna be a rant. There's nothing much to talk about except
yeah,
how shit India have been.
that's true. Of course, we do have a lot of segments. We will talk about whatever positive there was to talk about. We will talk about the negatives or the things to improve on. We will have few stats, a lot to do with root, some to do with root, in fact. And then we have a very, very interesting technical tidbit. It's about someone who was introduced way later in the day, in the 69th over, in fact, and who also got the first 2 wickets for the Indian team. So it's a very interesting thing. A lot of people, interestingly, think or thought that we dislike Washington Sundar. It's something we talked about in terms of him trying to improve certain things, which is exactly what we'll get into. But yeah, hit that like button. Let this stream be pushed out to a lot more people. Hi Arvind, hi DOF, Raghuram, Vishnu, Shrikant, Bala. Yeah, Chess Master. I like how Chess Master says draw.
Draw. Do you mean stalemate?
Ashwin and Praatibh need a statue outside Old Trafford for watching the day full for content. Arvind, I genuinely appreciate that. You have no idea how much that comment means to me. Comment
Mm,
section therapy for today's chat. Karthik, I agree. I think if we will have to do what we have to do, but
uh,
you guys will have to support each other. Praneeth, hi Praneeth.
and us as well.
Be in a huddle and tell ourselves that we have. It's okay.
We've seen worse.
Yeah, we have seen worse. In
We
fact,
have seen worse.
we
We
have.
have.
Yeah,
But today felt very close to what we used to see as
yeah.
kids.
Hi
Yeah.
Zappy. Hi Orion. I would have said Orion, but then I know my English. Said Orion. All right, let's go to the scorecard.
Cool. So India, of course, 358 all out. No surprises there. England coming into today, 225 for two was where they started the day. Within the first hour, they were already looking good, getting to 266 for two. England by lunch, 332 for two, getting over 100 runs in the session, not losing a single wicket. From there to tea, another 100 runs, but losing 2 wickets, moving to 432 for four. And at the end of the day, England are 544 for 7. Joe Root 150, his 38th Test century, and England are ahead by 186 runs.
Hey Pawan, the first time you're on our live. Good to see that. Let's rock. Let's go to merit and Brit, and that's positives for the day. If we have any, Pratip, do we
Yeah,
have
well,
any?
as they say, every cloud has a silver lining. And although this was an overcast, very grey, cloudy day for India, there was still a couple of things that we can take back, especially moving forward into the final test, because this test is done for, and the rest of the test matches to come. First thing, Washington Sundar appreciation where is due. He's come such a long way because both Ashwin and I have had a fair share of criticism towards him, especially him as a bowler, and that is something that he's immensely improved on. There's also a technical tidbit on Washington Sundar itself today, but just from the start, it's unfortunate that he came on in the 69th over, but right from the time he came on, he was right on the money. Just the kind of drift he was getting, the areas in which he was landing the ball, the amount of body, especially being a spinner myself, being an off spinner, to see the kind of bowling that was on display from Washi was a joy to watch. So that's on Washington Sundar. I think he did not really put a foot wrong. I feel like he could have definitely got longer spells, could have started much earlier, but even with the limited amount of stuff that he got to work with, he did extremely well. So that's one of the positives. Next thing is also a little bit about Jadeja. We are also going to talk about Jaddu in the negatives, but I still think Jaddu bowled fairly well. Uh, he was hitting the right areas. He was not as loose as some of the other test matches. And it's a little surprising that it's taken this long for him to really get into some solid rhythm, but it's good. At least with these two spinners, India had something. They were able to get some kind of wickets, and obviously it's not worked. It's not really put any kind of pressure, but at least it was good to see. Now, apart from that, in the fast bowlers, I thought everyone was mostly all over the place. Mohammad Siraj, however, was once again he bawled his heart out. There was finally some chatter around Siraj's workload because he was clutching his ankle by the end of the second new ball spell. But just the kind of deliveries and just the kind of areas that Siraj was bowling, albeit not as consistently, whenever he was bowling that, he was looking so potent. especially with the second new ball. There was, I think it was the first over that he was bowling with the second new ball, that over to Root, where he beat him. He balled a maiden. And in general, that was the time when it was looking like Siraj could make an impact. Unfortunate that he did not get a wicket just then. But yeah, I think with the kind of workload that Siraj has had for so long now, for the amount of overs he's balled, and still he's coming out and putting in that Lions performance, just from an effort point of view, you see that it really means a lot to him. And so that is something that India can actually take a lot of pride from. Last thing, Ashwin was getting ready for the negatives because he's going to go on a rant. But last thing, Dhruv Jurel. A lot of people are going to just look past it. Thankless job, wicket keeping. But I thought Dhruv Jurel kept extremely well. Even the catch he got of Jamie Smith, I think it was, where he was diving forward. But even apart from that, keeping to the spinners, getting that stumping also of Harry Brook, all of that taken into account, I think Dhruv Jurel's had a brilliant day behind the stumps. In fact, I mean, throughout the matches where he has kept, he's looked fairly decent. Of course, a lot of people will say that in the last game he gave away a little more buys than expected, but he's come a long way. Even from there, you can see him moving much better, and it was a good joy to watch, especially because he will be playing that fifth test match very likely.
What my mic? Oh, I knew this day would come when my mic, yeah, can't hear the rant. Yeah, I know, I know. This is how things go downhill, not only for our life, but for the Indian team. All right. Yes, I have. There's a Kuldeep in our chat. Good lord. All right, so I'll start again, right? A lot of people on comms were talking about how Bumrah and Jadeja should have started off with. Shardul Thakur, of course, started off the innings with today, which I thought was only to change ends, and that's exactly what happened. I don't think Bumrah and Jadeja should have started off, even though Sun was beating down. I thought Siraj and Bumrah did extremely well. But from then on, I think the Indian captain got a lot of things wrong. I thought he could have introduced the spinners much earlier. I didn't like the combination of fast bowlers being used again and again. It almost felt like Gill was again waiting for things to happen. And we have said this in the first test match, his first ever test match as captain. We said this in the second test match, his second ever test match as captain. This is the fourth test match. And again, it's something to learn from. A lot of people will be critical and a lot of people will call out his captaincy. It is very natural to have that reaction. We got to remember that it is his fourth test match. Even the most successful captains like Virat Kohli in this first few test matches, in fact, after his first few test matches, a lot of people did criticize him for being defensive. It's just something you learn. But yeah, he struggled to rotate the bowlers. In fact, he struggled so much that Washington Sundar, like Praatibh said, like everyone talked about today, wasn't introduced until the 69th over. Harsha Bogle, in fact, even tweeted talking about how Sundar might be fielding in the outfield and might just have an identity crisis. What is he? Is he a spinner who can bowl? Is he a lower middle order batter who can also bowl? I said he's a spinner who can also bowl. He's a batter who can also bowl. Or he's just someone who's a utility player in the test team. And I think as much as we've criticized Sundar a lot in the past, he's always been a lot more than that. We've always praised his batting, sort of. And but he is a lot more than that. And waiting until the 69th over made no sense. Especially when after that, of course, the Shubman Gill trademark of waiting for the second new ball. And we saw that happen once again. It felt like he was just waiting for the new ball, the second new ball, waiting for things to happen. And I don't like that Gill has this habit of waiting. Interestingly enough, whenever he goes off the field and whenever KL Rahul takes charge for a bit, it seems like things are happening a little more. And I don't want to give credit to KL Rahul. It's just an observation that I have made. But yeah, Gill, I thought his captaincy today was very, very poor. It's one of those days where you will be tested. I didn't think he was proactive. I didn't think his bowling changes were all right. And that's when we come to Jadeja. Jadeja has 300 plus test wickets. And I know I don't know if you're going to make a reel out of this, but we might possibly, and we might get comments about how we should go there and bowl and try getting some wickets, and if he can do that and all of that. Jadeja can. The fact that he has 300 plus test wickets shows that he can. And the fact that he's so stubborn to not just fly the ball, but to just bowl it a little slower. That is what is so frustrating. And it's not just an observation we have made. Ravi Shastri, in fact, by the end of the day, when Liam Dawson pulled out and Jadeja bowled that flighted ball, Ravi Shastri reiterated that this is what Jadeja needs to do. He can't flight the ball when the batter is pulling out of a shot. He needs to do it more often. The ball that he got Root's wicket, what a beautiful delivery, spun and bounced, and he flighted the ball. And it took 27 overs for Jadeja to do that. It took 27 overs for him to vary his pace just a little bit. And he was doing that by the end of it. And to be fair, I thought he was doing it because he was tired and not because he wants to do it. So someone who has more than 300 plus test wicket, for someone who's played in England before, played in South Africa, played in Australia, it boggles my mind that the man can't vary his pace and play around with his pace and play around with his flight. Why, Prashant, thank you so much for the super chat. What a shit show by coach and captain. Outplayed. I completely agree. Today we have to be harsh because it was a shit show. I mean, again, even talking about the rough, right? So there is a rough to Stokes outside the off stump. How long did it take for Jadeja to find that rough? I mean, he is a fantastic spinner. He's the number one all rounder for a reason. But he's been really, really disappointing with the ball. And I'm not going to. This isn't even an extreme take. It's just the truth. He's been disappointing. Even his wicket to Root and his second wicket was. I don't remember. I forgot his. Oh, no. First wicket was Crawley. Second wicket was Root. They're good deliveries, but he isn't doing that consistently enough. And that is the frustrating bit. And then this is something Praatibh actually observed about lazy fielding. Like there were balls getting hit to mid off and mid on, including Jasprit Bumrah, and the batters were just taking singles. No rush, nothing at all. They were just easily able to take singles. I mean, this might be a little too critical for a lot of you, but even in the first spell, when Bumrah, I think, got a ball to shoot up and Ollie Pop got a top edge, I didn't feel like the fielders were hurrying to catch the ball. There was no effort to dive. There was no effort to run in to try catching the ball. It would have been impossible regardless. But we've seen Pat Cummins, the cordon bowl that Pat Cummins had against the West Indies. We've seen Ben Stokes, the run out to Rishabh Pant. You gotta put in that extra effort because those small effort make a big difference in the end. And it didn't seem like the Indian fielders were up for it today. And the last thing is Anshul Kamboj. We defended Anshul Kamboj yesterday in terms of his pace. But with the second new ball, where if you start off with 120 clicks, in fact, there was a stat going around that on average, Manas Labuschagne in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in December last year, he had an average pace of 131, whereas Anshul Kamboj doesn't even reach 130. So that is a worrying sign. There was an observation made on Reddit that he did bowl around 135 during the IPL, but you got to remember that's just a 4 over spell. Here he's coming in under the sun, bowling some longer spells to the English batters. Yeah, it won't just cut it. I think if this is how it's going to go, I might just say that this might be his last test match for a very long time. And that is our negatives for the day. Let's go to, oh, what a grit.
All right. So realistically, when we were looking for moments, there really isn't anything that has culminated in India being anywhere near in a good position. But if we really had to pick it out, I think Washington Sundar coming into the attack, getting those 2 wickets, at least brought some kind of sanity back to the Indian camp. I say this, and we are still 186 runs behind at this point, but Washi should have come in earlier. That was the moment. Washi coming in earlier would have meant that the moment would have come earlier. We could have seen a very different story. I'm not saying that he would have got all the wickets or he would have got any wickets, but just some combinations that Gill could have tried. Just the fact that you have 6 bowlers, but you're not using them properly. The distribution of overs at one point was about 19, 18, 15 for Bumrah, Siraj, and Kamboj. And then you had Thakur and Jadeja, I think, who would ball 9 and 6, and Washi wasn't even introduced into the attack. So it just beats the point. It goes against everything that these guys stand for, because they talk about playing a longer tail and they talk about playing all rounders so that they have more bowling options. And this, I think, this right here is the reason why it's important to play proper frontline bowlers. I think there can be no more glaring example than this. I know this was supposed to be moment of the day, but it has also become a rant. But yeah, that's essentially it. I think Washi coming in earlier might have made a difference.
All right, let's go to oh, what a grit to credit for the bit, and that's player for the day. We actually have two. We usually don't talk about English players, but we will do that today. First of all, the player of the day for the Indian team is Washington Sundar. 19 overs, 2 for 57. He was one of the most economical, if not the most. Let's make sure he is. All right, yeah. So he was the most economical, with an economy of flat 3. and he's the only one who conceded the least amount of runs. And I think, like Pratibh said, if he was introduced sooner, things may or may not have changed. But the fact that when he was introduced with that old ball, he got so much drift, and that's something we will talk about, and why he's getting drift, like what has he worked on. But yeah, the fact that he did get those, I mean, he got that drift in the last game, so it's evident that something's there for him. It's just a shocker that he wasn't introduced sooner, but it's good to see him being able to contain runs, get those wickets, be confident, bowl to these batters, and not get tail enders out, which is okay. I know there's a whole lot of Bumrah thing going on, but the fact that he was able to get the top orders out, Harry Brooks stepping out, so good wickets. And the second, of course, we have to talk about Joe Root now being the second highest run scorer in Test cricket history, going past not just Jack Callis and Rahul Dravid, but also Ricky Ponting, who was on comms when he got past Ricky Ponting. So good on Joe Root, I think. I mean, he's the fastest also in terms of matches to go past all of these three guys. And he has a long way to go for Sachin, but he also has a long way to go in his Test career. And it's only about time until he passes Sachin. And there is a narrative that's being going on around of how if Joe Root does get past Sachin, he will be the only one to be at that place because of the amount of test matches international players play right now. And so there might possibly, if Joe Root goes past Sachin, no one going past Joe Root anymore. And that is a feat. But even before that, the fact that he scored 13,000 runs, that in itself, he has an average of 45 plus everywhere around the world except for Bangladesh and Australia. Yes, he doesn't have a test century in Australia. I'm not hoping, I don't really care, but I would hope for him that this time around when they go to December, that might change too. And yeah, he doesn't have the best of averages against Bangladesh, but the man has an average of 50 in New Zealand. The man has an average of 45 plus in South Africa. Sure, he doesn't have 100 in Australia, but that one country doesn't let his whole career down. I think if people want to say he's the best right now, I would agree to that. Of course, there's Steve Smith in that conversation as well, but he hasn't played the same amount of matches. He hasn't played the same amount of runs. Is that an argument? Maybe not. But Steve Smith's also missed out on matches because of injuries, and Joe Root really hasn't. So, yeah, those two are the players of the day. Let's go to quick wit in Brit. Those are stats.
Awesome. So some stats for you. First one being Root is now the second highest test scorer in the history of test cricket, going past Ricky Ponting. Second one, and this is on Washi, the ball that he balled to Ollie Pope that had a drift of 3.3 degrees. Now, incidentally, Washi also happens to get the most amount of drift on average in this game. So he's got 2.6 degrees of drift, which is the most for any bowler in this match. And you will see, surprisingly, Root's second on that list with 1.6 degrees. Jaddu also surprisingly has got drift at 1.5, and Dawson 1.4 degrees, which is interesting because Dawson visibly was getting a little more, but that's a stat. And Root has now got 12 test hundreds versus India, the most by any batter. I think he's also now third for any batter getting most centuries versus certain oppositions. Gavaskar's second with 13 versus West Indies, and Bradman is first with 19
And
versus England.
Joe Root against India went past Steve Smith, of course.
Yeah, no surprises there. And lastly, and this is the more worrying one, honestly, India have conceded for the first time in 10 years in an overseas test a total of over 500. So goes to show that our bowling is in a little bit of a shamble.
All right, let's go to the technical tidbit, a very interesting one.
Cool, it's me again. I'm going to talk about Washington Sundar's hip drive. Now, here's the thing, right? What we've seen in the last couple of test matches is that Washington Sundar has not only looked potent, but he's also balled some really good deliveries. He's got deliveries not only to spit off the surface, he's got them to spin, but more importantly, he's also been able to get a lot of drift. Now, a big reason for this, and something that we've actually spoken about quite some time back, is that the initial criticism with Washington Sundar's bowling, especially, was that there was not enough body in his bowling. And what I mean by that is particularly this moment, the hip drive, which is basically converting all of the momentum you get from your body and converting that force into rotational motion so that you can put more into the ball. And what he's essentially worked on is he's also worked a bit on his non-bowling arm, which we'd covered a while back, but he's also looking to get a lot more pivot in his hip drive. So essentially, whenever you see him ball and whenever you see a front-on look off that, you will see his body quite literally twisting almost. So you'll see his ankle here, and that's the ankle on which he's pivoting and turning and twisting. Now, what this leads to is the transfer of momentum properly right from his run-up all the way to a point from where this twist lets there be rotational force, which eventually helps him put more revs on the ball. And these are some factors that are coming together beautifully for him right now. Of course, your rhythm also matters, but because of this is why he's not only getting a lot more out of surfaces, but he's also getting more drift and revs on the ball.
I don't think anyone could have explained that better. Let's go to the chat and that's addressing the chat. All right, out of 39 of his centuries, 23 are at home. Yeah, but that's also because in his not prime, he had another boom. In the last couple of seasons, England have only played at
Yeah.
home. Again, I don't like the idea that just because he's scoring a lot of runs at home doesn't make him not great. He has good averages everywhere around the world, which means he's able to score. It's not his fault that England aren't traveling enough. All right, not a legendary one. Right. Why did the selection committee select Anshul Kamboj after seeing his pace in nets on long spells?
See, so there's a couple of things, right? Anshul Kamboj has had a brilliant domestic season. He's got like 50 wickets in just 9 games or something
With
like
an
that,
average of 22. I mean,
with an
he has a
average
first class
overall average
22.
of 22. But beyond that, also, he was picked for the India A tour to England, where they were playing the England Lions. And even there, he easily looked the best bowler. He looked the most controlled bowler,
Yeah.
seam and swing. I'm not sure about the pace there, but I think these are factors which kind of pushed him up in the pecking order. And that's essentially what's playing out. Yeah.
Uh, Sir, what is our management doing? Why are they so lackluster? It would have been evident in the nets that Anshul Kamboj isn't match fit. Then why would they play him? Lord also, oh, Shardul.
Hmm.
Damn. Also hasn't looked good. Why not Kuldeep?
Yeah, I think why not Kuldeep is a question
Yeah,
that
that's
we all have. I think why not Kuldeep is a question that everybody has and nobody is answering. In this test match, the simple reason is that you will never play three spinners at Manchester. I think that's the only logic here. As for Anshul Kamboj, the first point you raise is an interesting one because I'm sure they would have seen him ball in the nets before the match.
yeah.
So, did he ball with the decent enough pace there for them to okay him, or did they know that he is going to be a certain way, but they didn't have a trust in Prasidh Krishna?
Yeah. Or just the fact that they wanted to play a swing bowler.
Possible.
Interesting. We had when we spoke to Jared and when we made that episode, Jared
Hmm.
did say that swing bowlers don't work in England anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm
Uh,
sure swing bowlers with 145 plus clicks would still
Yeah, I
work.
mean the most relevant example I can think of is how Bhuvneshwar Kumar, when he started his career, also did not have the pace, but then he went back,
True.
worked on it,
And
gained
then
like
he lost
five
the
clicks,
swing,
lost the swing a
and
bit.
then he came back. It was a whole
So,
circle.
and that's something I was actually telling Ashwin today also. If Kamboj is to be successful at the pace he is right now, he has to be a Praveen Kumar slash Bhuvaneshwar Kumar
Yeah.
level bowler with lines, lengths, and everything. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's not going to work.
Ram, why is Akash? So Akashdeep is not rested. He's injured. Arshdeep Singh is also injured. So both of them are injured. Let's assume we have bowled 10 overs. Our bowlers are so experienced they'll realize what line and lengths to bowl. At least what not to bowl. Also, Washer has played county here. All of this is baffling. I completely agree with that.
Hmm.
What's the point of accuracy if you can't bowl 135 plus consistently? I think it's still good enough.
Yeah, I think even if he's consistently hitting 130, that's okay. Because I think something that a lot of people don't realize is that even for him to gain 5 clicks, like
Is
on
a
a
lot of
consistent basis,
work.
it's a lot of work. Yeah. We'll probably break that down sometime, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm worried for Siraj and Bumrah. They're gonna be broken. These long spells is taking a
Uh,
toll on them. Yeah,
it
I'm
is.
worried for Siraj
It's high time there's a discussion on
on
just workload
on
of
Siraj
Siraj.
of
Yeah.
Siraj. Yeah. At this point, Hardik Pandya needs to be brought back into the test fold and up to speed in terms of rehab, endurance training, and manage well how Stokes is doing it for England. I don't know how interested Hardik Pandya is to play red ball cricket.
Mm.
Interested he is to play red ball cricket anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Praveen Kumar, what a legendary bowler. Poor captaincy by Gill. Yeah, see, that's the thing. We will be critical of Shubman Gill,
Mm.
but that's what we do. But as fans, we also need to understand it's still his fourth test match.
True.
He's not been in this situation ever as a captain where the team has scored 500 plus runs,
Yeah.
where the team is clearly dominating, where he doesn't have the bowlers that he wants, and there are a lot of injuries. You need to realize we've played with an injured squad before, but the captain for that was Rahane, and he captained for India before. Not only that, he played for India for so many years before he actually captained.
Mm.
Shubman Gill wasn't even a starter according to us before the series started,
True.
and the fact that this is just his fourth Test match as captain. All right, I have a wild idea. Remember the Bangladesh Kanpur Test? Let's have 600 runs in 80 overs. Con-
If only.
Considering more all rounders instead of bowlers doesn't pay in test matches, as taking 10 wickets is what closes out the game.
Exactly. And yeah, that's something we've been raving about, how India needs proper bowlers. This all rounder stuff is not going to work. And I feel like, at least in Sena, Jaddu might be done for in terms of bowling. He doesn't
Oh,
look the
man.
part.
Someone said Khalil would have been a better choice. I think Khalil Ahmed was also injured because he was
Mm.
supposed to stay back and
Yeah.
then flew back.
Yeah. I think that's been the issue with Khalil. He just gets injured a fair bit.
Uh, Shubman Gill can't make a decision on DRS as well. Yeah, which Indian captain could apart from MS? I mean, Virat couldn't. Rohit could somewhat.
KL has been
Yeah,
reliable
KL,
in
yeah.
that sense. Yeah.
There was a stat in cricket was saying Bumrah's pace is much lesser compared to the previous matches. Any reason for this? I think just longer spells.
Yeah.
And especially after falling down the stairs and all of that.
Yeah, there was the exact stat. I think they showed it on the broadcast as well. Was that in the first test that he played, he balled 40%, 140 plus deliveries. That number came down to 27% at Lords, and now it's much lower.
Right. I mean, that's fine. You're
Mm.
still getting. Boys, I know Prasid was not good this series, but Manchester pitch was for him. Why did they prefer Kamboj over a player who has been with your. Alright, so this is again, like, this is.
It's just very retrospective.
Yeah,
Like you could,
this is again
yeah,
a player who's not playing is the better one who would have won you the match.
yeah.
This attitude, I dislike it. That way, you could have called Ishant Sharma. He could have possibly done well here. But yeah, sure. Am I the only one thinking we can achieve a draw if you put in the grit? But I'm thinking they would fold for wow, Jesus. Damn, you went from hopeful to hopeless.
Ye-
I mean, I don't think. I would
Mhm.
hope.
Mm.
You know what my hope is? That England bat at least 1 hour tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't think Indians should take a wicket. Because then if we bat early,
Yeah.
then we'll have to bat the entire day. And then we'll have to
And
bat the
next
entire
day,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's dude. I mean,
Especially possibly without Rishabh Pant, in fact.
England is, yeah, possibly without Rishabh Pant. England is almost 200 runs ahead, and you have 2 full days of cricket left. I think the first thing is, when are they going to declare? Are they going to go just keep batting till the end and then try and get India all out and just finish it off by an innings?
Yeah.
Is that what they're looking to do, or do they want to bat again? Which I don't think they do. So
The
uh,
weather isn't good on Monday, but the
the match
Monday,
ends on,
Sunday.
yeah, I think Sunday there is rain forecast.
Right.
At least from what I remember.
Oh, Khalil is playing for Essex as we speak, so then he is not injured.
Mm.
I apologize. I read somewhere that he was injured at some point, but he's playing, so good on him. I'm glad.
Let's drop a like so that we can push this stream out as we take a last few questions.
Do you guys think India will lose the series 4-1? Am I the only one who's thinking this way? I mean, I hope not. I predicted India will at least win 2 test matches before the series started. Not on the live, but just. Yeah.
3-2, I hope. I still hope.
Fair.
It would just be nice for our morale.
I wonder who's going to be Dravid Lakshman's savior for us tomorrow to draw this test in the second innings.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true.
damn. If we can pull something like that off, nothing like it.
Yeah, if we can bat out the entire day tomorrow and then Sunday bat out the first and then declare and get 10 wickets and then win the match, damn.
Crazy.
And then Shubman Gill will be the best captain in the world. Yes, we will lose 4-1. Hopefully we do so. GG goes. Damn. Don't trust the forecast.
Yeah.
Also, someone
not
said
trusting.
forecast here has been bad. So I'm assuming. Alright, Karthik, guys, weather has been psychotic here. Sun and rain, mood swings. So I'm assuming you are there. We'll find out actually. Are you going to watch the test match if you are there? We are staring at 4-1. Our team has given up. I mean, to be fair, if Bumrah is already like tired and he's not going to play the next test, and if Siraj already tired, if we lose the series here, who's going to bowl in the next test match?
Oh, yeah. They're going to bring in Shivam Mavi and Kamlesh Nagarkoti. I don't know.
Damn. What if England batted in overcast conditions? I don't think they can make 350. Yeah, but we should have batted long enough. I mean, the way we got out wasn't because of overcast conditions alone. Sure, it was a little more spicy, but if we gritted out those couple of spells and overs, we could have been batting.
And even in overcast conditions, if India balled like they did yesterday,
Yeah,
it would have not helped.
Do you think there are too many all-rounders in the squad?
Yes.
Akshar Patel, Washington, Sundar, Jadeja, Thakur, Hardik Pandya, NKR, Tewatia, Pant, bowlers, GG will cry in pleasure seeing this team. Oh, just because of all rounders. And then you have a wicket keeper. Dhruv, that's actually well thought out, if anything. India's bowling unit is not performing just up to the mark. Don't know why. Maybe this is going to end Gigi's tenure on red ball cricket. Yeah, a lot of
Hmm.
people want his career to end. I mean, with his track record, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I think the BCCI is meeting on 28 July
Oh, and
or at least something around the Asian
that's the
Cricket
day after
Council stuff.
tomorrow.
Yeah. So I wonder if that comes up there in conversation.
Interestingly enough, I don't know how fair it is to
Mm.
judge his test match tenure as a test
GG's.
coach
Yeah.
as a defeat in Australia and a defeat in England
Mm.
when I mean, we are a good side, but to defeat people at home is pretty difficult. The
It is.
loss at home
Mm.
is something to talk about.
Yeah, 100%. I think the honest fact is that we've been spoiled for the last 10 years or the last 8 years because of how well Kohli's team has done overseas.
And it's
So,
also like if you look at it again objectively, if you look at team A and team B and forget it's India, forget it's Gautam Gambhir, the Indian batters have done extremely well. They've done well even in this test match, done enough with the conditions and with Pant's injury and all of that. We've done enough in this test match. Sure, the bowlers haven't stepped up, but if you look at the first three matches, the first match we weren't up to the mark, second and third, I would say we did quite well with the ball.
mm,
And then it's only the 4 test match. So
true.
objectively, even the scoreline might suggest otherwise, we haven't really done that badly. It's only today that's stretching the fact that it looks much worse than it actually is, kind of scorecard. Guys, all stat wise, Indian bowlers as a whole have been the letdown contrary to expectations.
Mm.
We had before the start of the series. Batters have been largely good except fourth innings at loss. I agree.
That is
I
fair.
mean,
Yeah.
we made a whole video about how the Indian bowlers look
Mm.
better than the English bowlers, but we didn't
Oh,
know how
yeah.
many
True.
overs Stokes would actually bowl and be the highest wicket taker and have the best series of his life with the ball. Good lord. Will this batting deep work out? It'll be better to have a. Okay, right. So I have a question for you.
Mm.
So if we were to have 5 bowlers, who would our 5 bowlers be? And who would you take out from the team?
Cool. So, on the basis of current form, you'd want Bumrah, Siraj, Akashdeep, also depending on the conditions, and you want Kuldeep in, and possibly Jaddu or Washi play.
Right.
If it's in India, you
Yeah,
have
it's
Jaddu,
different, but like
Washi,
now in
but
England now, yeah.
yeah, in England these would be a three because at least right now these three are your best fast bowlers in India, no doubt about it. Of course, I'm not considering the workload they have right now and all, but in an ideal condition, this would be the bowling attack.
Right. Guys, just results don't say everything. It's just the way we are losing the matches, which is why we need to which is why he needs to be gone. The
Mm.
team looks hopeless. There's another agreement to you, where boys, I'm not going to agree with you. We should not regress the STD
Standard.
standard that have been increased. So if a coach can't do it, then sack him. No, I agree. I think it's the way you lose matches and not the result in itself. I agree with that. I don't think Gautam Gambhir should continue. Let's just make that clear. I don't think we agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate and trying to find his arguments and what his arguments will be.
Yeah, the thing is, I think the point you bring up about the manner of losses or the manner of how a team is losing is important because something that we also spoke to actually about with Jared Kimber was he was talking about Gill's captaincy and how it's very predictable and how he likes to follow set patterns and not deviate from it. That is something that we are seeing a fair bit. We are seeing it with the kind of bowling changes there
Yeah,
are.
Gill's very stubborn.
Yeah, he especially with spin because even at Gujarat Titans, you had Sai Kishore.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
he did not want to ball
Yeah,
Sai
the year
Kishore a
before
lot.
Sai Kishore was the best bowler for them, and then he not only
Yeah.
struggled to get overs, but yeah.
Which is something to keep in mind because this will be interesting to see at home when spin is going to win you games. How does he go about playing that situation?
Yeah. Yes, we didn't do that bad, but tell me honestly, are you guys happy with the team selections in every match? We won the Edgbaston test because of individual brilliance. The support staff doesn't look convincing.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the selections. I don't think Ashwin is either.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's a toughie. And it will obviously boil down to Shubman. It will be less on Shubman because he's a new captain, which is also why GG.
Yeah, I mean, I hope
gets-
Gill continues as
Yeah.
a captain.
It would be stupid to
Yeah,
give him the cycle. Just give him the cycle.
yeah. If they can't keep up, all right. So If they can't keep up the standard which is maintained in any field, you will be fired or review the workers. That should happen. I think that's a bit unfair. I think that's a bit unfair, especially when the standards cannot be met when the team is in transition. You
Right.
can't expect the same results you did when you had Pujara, Rahane, Virat in the middle,
In form.
yeah, in
Yeah.
form, and when you had Shami, Ishant, and Bumrah. So the standards cannot be the same, and that is a fact. If
Mm.
you have the same standard, you will be firing captains and coaches for the next couple of years, and
Yeah.
that is also a fact. So the standards cannot be the same, but I understand the manner of loss should shouldn't be the same, but like it
Yeah.
should.
It should not be like a just give up,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
The most painful thing is for Ravi Shastri to watch all these bullshit from the combox. What the hell have they done to this beautiful team? Lads,
Mm.
this team is in a transition. We gotta accept that. Like we had a player close to 10,000 runs retire. We had a player who was an opener, also the captain, retire. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a good captain. He was a good batter in the latter half of his test career, so good on him. Like Rohit Sharma, not like Rohit Sharma, but he retired. We have a top five batters who are very, very young. We still are trying to find a number three.
Yeah.
Jaiswal's young. KL Rahul now is solid. He's scoring
And he's
runs.
scoring runs.
Yeah,
We
no,
lost our pace battery. Except for
yeah,
Bumrah, we've lost Shami, Ishant, Umesh, Bhuvi. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
I
going
mean,
far back, but yeah.
it's still a beautiful team. You just gotta have some patience. Of course, we can get angry, and we should if India loses. But we also have to give ourselves a reality check. It's not the same team that it was, and we have to give ourselves time.
True. I think you all tend to forget to 2011, 2012 when we were essentially getting whitewashed, not even winning one test match. We were getting whitewashed at home. No, sorry, not at home. Away consistently. We lost the home series. But eventually, we built up to a couple of years. Then Dhoni left. Then from
Yeah.
there, so yeah, that's something to keep in mind.
Guys, I agree. Team it is in transition, but we would never fold this easily on the field. Whereas all this energy gone, just don't give up. I don't know if you guys remember, Siraj and Jadeja fought until they couldn't in the third test match. They're
Mm,
still fighting. Like
yeah.
I get the frustration. I'm frustrated too. At this point, I feel like I have to defend the team.
Yeah, it's a little bit of recency bias because of today. Because I mean, when you are hit for 500 runs, when you're in the field for 100 plus overs, when England has a 200 run lead, obviously the players are going to feel deflated. You can't be smiling and cheering your bowler at 500. You should be, but it's logically it just doesn't work
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
But this is a very interesting question. Unknown asks, what is happening with the fast bowlers in India? Where has the
Ooh.
fast bowlers gone? Where
Interesting
have the fast
question.
bowlers gone?
We are trying to do a video on it. Like we're trying to get into especially like injuries and stuff. If everything works out, you will have a video on it on Tuesday. But yeah, I think it's something to talk about because there's a couple of things, right? Firstly, the MRF Pace Foundation, like a lot of the bowlers now, I don't know if anybody is coming from MRF Pace
Yeah,
Foundation because I
very
don't actually
interesting.
hear it much because
Yeah.
especially when the crop around Varun Aaron and these guys came, you would hear people say that yeah, this is the crop from the MRF Pace Foundation. I don't think I hear that anymore. So
True.
that's something to think about. The injuries are something to think about.
True.
Workload management comes in because you have so much cricket now. So yeah, we'll hopefully try and do something with this.
Srikanth again. So boys, I can counter with this. Our batters like Jaiswal, Pant, KLR, Gill, Jaddu are still in form of their life. Siraj is good. So is Bumrah and Akashdeep. Yeah, but Akashdeep is injured. Okay, so it's different when you're in form versus the skill set these guys had because of a lot of experience. Jaiswal can be in the form of his life, but the skill set that he will have 5 years down the line will be a lot more than what he has right now. That's what you get with experience. That's the point of experience. There's a reason why Root is scoring right now. There's a reason why Stokes can play out situations. It's because of experience. So, right, you're right that these players are in form, but when Virat Kohli had this team that he hit, that he did, not only were players in form, but they had so much experience coming behind them. And it
Right.
was either the second tour that was winning in Sena countries or the third tour. Most of these guys, it's the first tour. So,
True.
if anything, just comparing form, I mean, yeah, so like experience is very. What's the word for?
Subjective.
Not, what's the word for?
Hmm.
Doesn't matter.
While
Somebody
Ashwin's
else.
thinking about it, I think a good example of experience coming into the picture is Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul, and Jaddu.
Yeah.
All with the bat. This is their fourth tour in England. They're all doing well. So it matters. Like it makes a huge difference.
I'm gonna ask you this on the live. What's the thing that you can't see, like see, feel, or touch, but it's a thing, like it's a quality? I don't know what is it called, but it's called something, and that's what experience is what I want to say. Anyway,
Immeasurable.
yeah, but like there's a word I learned it in my commerce undergraduate. Anyway, no guys, recency bias. The team looked flattened after the Duckett Crawley partnership. We never came back after that. It's like waiting for things to happen.
Dude, Arvind, that's exactly what I'm saying, right? When you get battered in a manner like this, what is the chance that you're still going to have good shoulders, especially when one by one your bowlers are struggling, they're getting injured and everything. So I agree with what you're saying. Like, I get where you're coming from. That's also the sentiment we have, but you also have to look at it from the perspective of just what the players themselves are also going through. Because I'm sure nobody is just out there to lose a match for India. Nobody is playing with the intention for India to lose. So
Oh, intangible. Oh, I did something
nice.
to my hand.
Dude, Ashwin got so excited while snapping, he's done something to his
I
hand.
felt a whole vibration, but intangible is the word. Thanks for that, Isaac. I appreciate that because it was eating me alive. I was hoping when I did you do commerce is what I have because we use the word intangible a lot.
Intangible assets.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Exactly that. Anyway, I was hoping when both Rohit and Kohli retired around the same time,
Mm.
some months back, that I thought at least one of Pujara Rahane. Oh, that wouldn't have happened.
We've made videos on this before the BGT. Check it out. There's definitive reasons why Pujara and Rahane are just not going to come back. It's very obvious if you watch the video, and they were also dropped for the right reasons. Maybe a little harsh, but just watch that video.
Shubham, yes, intangible was the word I'm looking for. Thanks, man. Thanks, Isaac. Thanks, Shubham. We need more pacer and pacer all rounders.
I think for starters, we just need a backup pool of fast bowlers, dude. Suddenly, there feels like there's no fast bowler
True.
left in the country. So,
My friend was suggesting give Umesh Yadav a home season once again because why not? I thought, I mean, why? Anyway, I just don't like the support staff, man. I feel with experienced support staff, this team is bound to greatness. We have so much talent. I agree with that.
we
Have
do.
so
We do.
much talent, and I agree with the experience bit. I mean, Gambhir has never been an actual. He was a coach for the KKR,
Yeah, but
and then he went. Oh, he was a coach for the Delhi Capitals, which did horrendous, and then he went back to KKR as a mentor. I don't know what the role was. The name was a mentor. He would have been coach. I'm not really sure, but then. Yeah, they've never actually captained international sides. I know Morkel had a stint with England, if I'm not wrong. I might be
consultant.
mistaken. But yeah,
Sure.
you're right there. Boys, I would counter. Good lord. With Kamble and Shastri did so what they had with experience with NCA, whereas that with GG, no coaching experience in test. So your argument, we don't have proper guide currently. Yeah, I mean, these are two different conversations.
Yeah, yeah.
In terms of team standard and coaches, they're completely different. Wait, what? Oh, Shastri did with no experience. I mean, Ravi Shastri was within and with and around the team for a very long time. Even before he became the coach, he was part of. He wasn't. He was
He was
never given.
director of
Yeah,
cricket. Yeah.
not just that, but he was never given a title. But he was in and around NCA. So at that time, there are a lot of people in and around NCA who don't really have tags because you don't necessarily need them. But these guys were involved. We just didn't see it then, but they were involved because we know it for a fact. Anyway, for a country with a country with a talent pool as big as ours, how is it possible we're not producing good pacers? I think we are. They
Yeah.
just get injured too often.
Yeah, I'm sure we are. I mean, there's a lot of youngsters I can think of. Mayank Yadav, Umran Malik.
Injured.
Injured. There was a Natarajan phase. He is
Injured.
also always injured. Navdeep Saini was good for a while.
And then he did nothing with the ball for a
Yeah,
while.
actually interesting. Where's Navdeep Saini? I
Yeah.
think I read a comment. But yeah, it's not that we don't have good pacers.
Shivamavi Nagarkoti
Yeah, injured.
always.
Yeah, so this is something we need to look at actually. Why is there so much injury?
Yeah. Do you think Shami could have been selected? I don't think he could have selected himself. If not, he would have said that in the press. If a
Yeah.
coach has no experience, try to keep up the standard. Why not sack Gigi? I mean, I mean, we are up for it. I
Yeah.
don't know if BCCI is up for it.
They should be at this point.
Yeah.
It will be a discussion for sure. Like I
It's
don't see.
also a thing, right? Because
Mm,
when Rahul Dravid was the under 19 coach and Shastri was the head coach,
mm,
VVS Lakshman was in and around the under 19 setup.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all. I know a lot of you guys want VVS Lakshman as the head coach, but then the question is, who's your India A coach? Then who's your under 19 coach? I don't know if they're around. I'm sure the assistant coach might become head coach, but I know a lot
Mm.
of you guys want Lakshman. But it's not an easy thing to just because Lakshman is the under 19 coach, get him to the India. There's a
Yeah.
whole system. There's a whole thing to work out. You can sack a coach if you want to. You just have to realize who the replacement will be. And I think it should be Ricky
Mm.
Ponting is who I think it
Dude,
should
yeah, Ricky Ponting's got brains. Lads, we are only 36 likes despite the viewers going way past 100.
be. That's fine. We'll go now.
Can we get that number to 50 before we leave?
Interestingly enough,
Please.
Ricky Ponting wasn't gonna apply because of how much time away he would have to be with family and all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean,
Fair,
he gets more money with the IPL, so.
fair,
But
yeah.
I would do anything to see Ponting as the coach, not gonna lie. If someone like Dravid had to go through coaching the team,
The
A
18.
team before his senior team stint, which is true for all players as well, why did Gautam compete? So, one thing, Dravid never intended to coach the Indian team. He was asked to do it more than him applying to do it.
Yeah.
He always was around the juniors ever since he took up coaching. Even with Rajasthan Royals, you see a trend.
True.
And so he was always with under 19. So that is a difference. Ricky Ponting, man, is exceptional. See, Ricky, yeah. If we had the choice, we would get the Indian team to greatness. Ricky Ponting, man, is exceptional. See, is it a GG problem or selection or lack of options?
I think there's definitely a power dynamic at play because even with how the press
Definitely,
conferences,
we don't know, but we'll just.
I am sure.
Fine.
No, I think the point being that there are obviously you're going to have difference in opinions, but at the end of the day, as the captain of the side, and when you're on the field, there are certain decisions that you have to take on the field because a lot of times, and this is something that was spoken about on comms as well, is that Gill would go away for a couple of overs or when he would come out after tea or whatever, is when you'd see the change that people would
Yeah.
be asking for. So it's something that Gill with gain with will that it's something that Gill will gain with experience. That was a tongue twister.
Yeah.
But yeah, GG definitely has a more say in whatever happens right now. Feels like it.
Yeah, so that's the sad end. That GG has more of a say in the Indian team. The reason I don't want to accept it is because I don't want to accept it, not because I don't think it's true. Is my
It's
thing.
just subjective and speculative. So
Yeah,
that's all we can do.
but sad. All right, then we'll end this. We'll end the live on this note because it's been a sad day for us Indian fans, anyways. And if you do want some happy thing, there's nothing. I was hoping for an under 19 game or an India women's game. I realized there is none. If you
Uh,
want some Indian players doing well, Tilak Verma scored 100 yesterday,
Yeah.
albeit on very, very, very flat decks for Rihan Ahmed. Not only did he score 100, but got a 10
Uh,
for
yeah,
another
that's
spinner.
crazy.
I forgot whose name.
Tom Hartley.
Yeah, he also scored a
Mm.
100.
100 and a 5 for. Yeah,
No,
same thing.
and a 10 for.
A 10 for. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Damn.
flattest of decks. Kane Williamson scored 100. So if you like Kane Williamson, there you go. He also scored 100.
Yeah, true.
In fact, because of this county stint, Tilak Verma's first class average is more than 50. So now if you guys want to tweet about Tilak Verma or have his PR game up, this is the right time. He's in England scoring runs. So
Yeah, his county average right now is about 72 odd or something like
yeah,
that.
he's one of the highest scorers for the count. Okay, that can't
Hampshire.
possibly be true.
For Hampshire.
Maybe for the
Maybe.
team, yeah. But
Yeah.
I was going to say county
Oh,
overall.
no.
But yeah, that's been our live. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will come back tomorrow at 2:45, hoping for a more optimistic day.
Hoping that either it's a crazy day or they just end our misery tomorrow.
that's true.
Yeah.
But sad. All right then. Thank you guys so much for watching. If Ricky Ponting becomes coach, the Shreyas Iyer will become captain. That was funny.
That's true. Yeah.
Fair. Thank you guys so much for watching. Always appreciate the support. See you guys tomorrow at 2:45. Like, share, and subscribe. All that good stuff. Peace. Arey? Peace.